Hi, this is Rudy Jones. Welcome to the South Carolina College Baseball Recap for Tuesday, April the 21st. This is part of my coverage of college baseball in the state of South Carolina, all levels of it, at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. You can check it out for scores, schedules, notes, and other things that are going on. I also provide in-game updates on my X handle, which is Palmetto Base. Let's take a look at what was going on Tuesday. There were 13 games involving state teams being played. Up in Wilmington at Brooks Field, UNC Wilmington scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning to knock off number 9 Coastal Carolina by a score of 2-1. It was a weird game. The Chanticleers were limited to 1 base runner. That was a solo homer by Jordan Taylor in the 2nd inning. And yet that held up into the bottom of the 9th. As I said, the Seahawks were trailing. They got a single, another single to drive in the tying run. Then a bunt trying to move the runners over, and it turned out to be a single. Then the next batter hit a grounder to the first baseman, who tried to throw home for a force out, at least a force out, maybe try to get a double play. But the throw skipped away, and UNCW was able to get the win 2-1. The Seahawks are now 22-18 overall. Coastal fell to 28-12. They're number 9 in the D1Baseball.com rankings. Over at Clemson, Luke Gaffney had a 3-run homer in the first and a 2-run single in the second, and Clemson used that early cushion to beat USC Upstate by a score of 7-2. Tigers improved to 26-16. USC Upstate fell to 19-23. The Spartans have lost 6 straight games. Also for Clemson, Justin Legarrette pitched 3 shutout innings to get the win in middle relief. They started with Talon Bell both on the mound and in the DH spot. And the Legarrette struck out 5 Spartans batters. Down in Columbia, South Carolina got 7 RBIs from its bottom 4 batters in the lineup and rallied to beat Presbyterian by a score of 9-3. The Blue Hose got a 2-run homer in the top of the first inning, but Carolina came back and scored in the first 5 innings, I believe, maybe even the first 6, and held on to win. USC is now 20-22. PC fell to 9-33. Ethan Lozama, KJ Scobie, and Luke Uhas all homered and drove in 2 runs for Carolina. Carolina pitchers struck out 13, and Connor Chicoli got the win for the Gamecocks. Pitched 4 shutout innings, and he struck out 4. For PC, that 2-run homer came from Matthew Rollison in the first inning. Elsewhere on Tuesday night, Spartanburg Methodist got a nice upset win over a nationally ranked Georgia Gwinnett team by a score of 9-5. The Pioneers scored 5 unearned runs in the 8th inning to rally from a deficit and won the game 9-5. The Pioneers are now 23-21. Georgia Gwinnett fell to 40-6. They had just played a 3-game series with Georgia Gwinnett, or the SMC did, last week or earlier this month in Spartanburg, and Georgia Gwinnett swept them and outscored SMC 51-8. So that was a nice win for Spartanburg Methodist today. Good confidence-building win. Blake Exazian, had a single, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 3 RBIs. He also pitched 3 1/3 innings, allowed 6 hits, 4 runs, walked 3, and struck out a batter. But again, a nice win for SMC in that. Another showdown, another exciting game. There are a bunch of really good D2 games involving non-conference matchups today. Down at Sparrow Stadium, Donathan Glisson's 3rd hit of the game broke a 8-8 tie in the 9th inning, and USC Aiken held on to beat number 8 Francis Marion by a score of 10-8. The teams went back and forth, and Aiken had a big lead, but Francis Marion tied it up. They threatened to go ahead in the 8th and could not do it. But for now, USC Aiken is 34-13, and Francis Marion fell to 37-10. Also for the Pacers, Maverick Grigsby was 3 for 4 with a walk, a run scored, and an RBI. Down on Patriots Point, Dylan Johnson had 4 hits and drove in 2 runs, and College of Charleston rallied to beat city rival Charleston Southern by a score of 7-5. The win evened the Cougars' record at 20-20. Charleston Southern fell to 22-17. Also for the college, Will Tippett, the transfer from South Carolina, had a double, a homer, and drove in 3 runs. Over at Russell C. King Field in Spartanburg, Ben Timlin doubled and homered to drive in 3 runs, and Spartanburg Wofford run ruled Queens by a score of 20-1 to win its 9th straight game. The Terriers are now 30-11. Their last 4 wins have been via the run rule. Queens fell to 12-28. Also for Walker, Nico Brini had a single, a double, a run scored, and 3 RBI. Cooper Raines kept a 3-run 8th inning with an RBI double, and Newberry snapped a 5-game losing streak by beating Mount Olive at Carolina Bank Field in Florence. Final score was 3-2. The Wolves are now 25-22. As I said, they snapped a 5-game losing streak. Mount Olive fell to 26-19. Zane McClendon had tied the game with a 2-run double earlier in the 8th. Mount Olive had a 7-game winning streak snapped with that result. McClendon was 2 for 4 with that double, the run scored, and 2 RBI. Oliver Zahn's RBI ground out in the 12th inning gave Lander a win over nationally ranked Wingate by a score of 13-12. The Bearcats have won 6 straight games. They're 28-18. Wingate fell to 32-15. Also for Lander, Zach Cowart was 5 for 7. They were all singles with 2 runs scored and 2 RBI. Also, Elon scored 7 runs, 5 of them unearned, in the 8th inning and overtook Winthrop for a 10-8 win over at Founders Field in Rock Hill. The Phoenix avenged a 13-3 loss to Winthrop last week up in North Carolina. Elon is now 17-23. Winthrop fell to 27-14. For the Eagles, Josh Skoronski had a double, a homer, a stolen base. He scored twice and drove in 4 runs. Braden Harrison had 4 hits and drove in a run as Anderson took care of Southern Wesleyan. That final score was 9-5. The Trojans evened their season record at 23-23. Southern Wesleyan fell to 15-32. In addition to Harrison's production, Adams Fawcett had 2 doubles, a run scored, and 2 RBI for Coach P.J. Zilke's Trojans. Jake Streeter broke a tie with a 2-run homer in the 8th inning from North Georgia, and the Nighthawks held off Erskine by a score of 5-3 over in Dahlonega. North Georgia is now 36-11. They're the Peach Belt Conference regular season champ, and they're ranked nationally. Erskine fell to 24-23 for the Flying Fleet. Drew Potts was 2 for 5 with a stolen base and an RBI. Morehouse scored 8 runs in the 7th inning and 5 in the 8th, so they twice rallied past Morris. Final score was 19-16 down in Atlanta at Hank Aaron Field. Dylan Levy had a single, a solo homer, and a grand slam for the Hornets, who are now 9-16. Morehouse improved to 20-18. They were supposed to play a doubleheader, but they opted to play just a single 9-inning game. Outside the state, in the ACC, North Carolina, number 2 in the country, was held to 5 hits, but beat High Point by a score of 9-2. Number 3, Georgia Tech whipped number 5, Georgia, 14-4 in a game played at Truist Park in Atlanta. Number 8, Florida State won at North Florida 4-1. Maine knocked off number 22, Boston College 6-4. Wake Forest beat UNC Greensboro 13-3 on a one-hitter by the Deacons pitchers. Virginia Tech topped Virginia Commonwealth 8-6. Pitt stomped West Virginia 23-1, and Liberty outscored Duke 13-10. In the ACC, Jacksonville bumped off number 21 Florida 7-5. Number 14 Auburn handled Samford 14-2. Number 15 Mississippi State topped Memphis 6-2. UAB whipped number 13 Alabama 13-2. Number 24 Arkansas had an 8-run 8th inning and beat Missouri State 12-4. Tennessee beat Lipscomb 14-4. Vanderbilt run-ruled Xavier 11-1 in 8 innings. And both number 7 Texas A&M and number UTSA and number 4 Texas and Air Force were rained out, canceled because of rain. Also, number 16 Kansas defeated number 19 Nebraska 9-7. That's in teams ranked in the D1.com baseball poll. There are some other ACC and SEC games still going on as I record this. In other games, USC Union transferred Trent Turner homered and drove in 2 runs, and Western Carolina spanked Gardner-Webb 11-1. Appalachian State beat former SoCon rival East Tennessee State 3-1. And in Division II, UNC Pembroke knocked off Division II number 4 Catawba 15-10, and Mars Hill upended Belmont Abbey 7-6 in 12 innings. Both of those were surprises. How about the schedule for Wednesday? A pretty light schedule. Bob Jones is at Payne for a doubleheader at 12:30. The Erskine JV play at USC Sumter for a doubleheader at 1. That was the game that was added to the schedule late. Columbia International JV are playing Florence Darlington Tech at 3 o'clock in Florence. Southern Wesleyan is at the JV, Southern Vegas JV, or at the Brevard JV. And the Citadel is at Georgia Southern. The reason I'm looking is I was just trying to see if there are any other games that have gone final. But for now, that's it for the South Carolina College Baseball recap for Tuesday, April the 21st. Like I say, there are some more ACC and SEC game finals. I will update once they're in and post them at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Just please check out my website and see what you think about it if you're not familiar with it. If you like it, tell somebody else about it. But for now, this is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com saying good night, Jesus loves you.